What's up, everybody? And welcome to Hot Corner Rant. And this is a special edition called Game Day Special. My man Shane Clunan. Shane, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
So, okay, Shane, just so our fans can understand why we're calling it Game Day Special. Shane, explain why it's Game Day Special.
Well, as you can see, we're mid-uniform, and I am on the field while we're recording this. So we are in the bottom of the first here. We just got to put out at first. Team's in first place, man. We're doing good. So excited to be here, excited to play.
You know, I was actually thinking a lot about what we were going to talk about on the podcast, which we will talk about the Rafael Devers trade and everything. But I kind of want to bring up one of our old Black Sox rules, rule number 2, which is fart smart. And the reason why I'm bringing this rule up is because it just reminds me of this game we played. I can't remember who the pitcher was, but the guy makes a pitch, line drive, hits him in the ankle, and he has to come out of the game because he can't put weight on the ankle. And the guy that was coming in for relief for him was taking a shit in the middle of this inning, and that's the guy who they called to go pitch. And he wasn't ready to pitch because he was taking a shit. So this kind of reminds me of this situation because instead of you taking a shit during this situation, you're doing a podcast, and at any given moment, you might either get called in to pitch or you might get called in to pinch run.
Hey, we went from having the fridge on our back to being one of the faster guys, and now, so yeah, I run for the catcher. I've got quite a few stolen bases, so that's pretty cool. A bunch of runs scored. And then I go into relieve, and I've relieved every game so far this season, and chilling, man. I'm 22 straight innings without a run, so I love it.
So at some point, we might be quiet on the air because you're pitch
That would be
running
best
for the
case
catcher.
scenario. I'll try to prop my phone up and get some base running action.
You know what? If that's the case, I'm going to be very
You
entertained.
should be. You ever see a PO run bases?
Yes, actually, you know what? I got a
hit me.
story about that. We had a PO come in so this was the summer going into my sophomore year of college. And we were short a player, and we tell this pitcher who not only shows up late, like, hey, we're short a guy. You're going to have to play. So he was totally shocked, hadn't had an at-bat in 6 years. And he ends up on base. We have runners on second and third. He's on second. I'm up to bat, and I hit a deep fly ball. And I'm just like, okay, deep fly ball, worst case scenario, the runner on third tags with scores, right? This pitcher, who hasn't ran the bases in 6 years, he tags behind the runner at third. And I swear to God, as he's running, his legs just go dead, and he trips and falls and gets thrown out at third base, and it cost me an
Sounds like
RBI.
a pitcher right there.
He was like, T-Blood, I'm so sorry. My legs gave out, and I wanted to be so mad at him, but I just laughed in his face because I remember him sprinting to third, and as he's about to take a stride to get to third, he just collapses.
Yeah, definitely PO stuff. I dove into home once and almost dislocated my shoulder. It popped out. But yeah, just stupid base running. Always. Create havoc on the base paths.
Okay, now serious question. What do you think about that Rafael Devers
I think it's
trade?
crazy, man. Best player in Boston, right? The one thing I read about that, David Ortiz said he had a very tough time communicating. He had no American advisor or anything. He really kept to himself. He was quiet in the locker room. He was just excited to get to a new start. And I think I saw some comparisons to him and Pablo Sandoval. It said Rafael Devers just arrived in San Francisco. But honestly, dude, as long as he's doing what he needs to do, I think he was very appreciative of the fans and everything in Boston. So I don't think no bad hearts through it. I think he just wants to play his game and be the best he can.
Well, and I think, too, it's a combination of, in my opinion, I think with Rafael, he's obviously one of their best hitters. Now, I'm friends with a lot of people from Boston. I kind of up with my social media trends and everything. And, they're talking about, the organization treated Rafael like shit. Rafael didn't want to be there because Bregman became starting third baseman. And I'm just, I'm thinking about it, too, especially in our instance when we played with the Black Sox, how we understood that baseball is a business, nothing is personal. And on top of that, you got to be honest with yourself. That's how we had to develop as ball players in indie ball. And if Raphael thinks he was a Gold Glove third baseman, he's clearly lying to himself. Silver Slugger, but not the best defensive third baseman. You got to save runs to win in pro baseball. So I wonder if, signing Bregman had something to do with him being okay with being traded. Not to mention, did he get along with the Red Sox? Because, there's also, you remember when they would make trades in the Frontier and the Atlantic League guys so they could just have a locker room guy? Yeah, maybe I don't know if he was a locker room guy, but, I can't speak for him.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's a job and everything happens for a reason. We don't really know much about the behind the scenes when it comes to the MLB. So, I'd be happy to see him flourish in the new environment. That's really all.
You know what? He doubled in his first game as a Giant, and he hit it in the deepest part of the park. So I think he's adjusting just fine.
That's a tough part to hit in general, for sure.
I think that park only has 70 splash hits, and Barry Bonds has like 39.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so before we get on to the next topic, run me through. I mean, we've been on the air for 6 minutes. Anything interesting happened?
No, we had a error at second base, caused it to be first and third, and then another ground ball back to second base because the ball always finds you after an error, man. But he recovered, made the out, so we're in 0-0, top two.
Okay, and 0-0, top two.
We are away tonight.
Okay. So at any given moment, viewers, Shane might be
starting pitcher, little wild, but he worked his way out of it. So probably get active in the third, fourth inning. I've been getting 2-3 innings of relief pretty much every game here. Another ground ball to shortstop. Ooh.
Now, a question to you, and we can talk about this from the hitting and the pitching standpoint. What are the keys that you're out the most getting? Oh,
there you go. We got controversy already, man. I love it. Don't listen to the bench. Listen to the umpire.
Oh, God, his team's already chirping. It's only the second inning.
Dude, the umpires in Pittsburgh are like 75-plus years old right now. It's been ridiculous.
Dude, are they even, young enough to not, we had a 60-plus-year-old umpire this season, and I swear to God,
how do I fit in the camera?
Second or third inning, he gets hit by a pitch, and he starts bleeding. And our catcher is looking into him like, hey, give me a ball.
My man is gray as the day is long.
That actually doesn't look
No,
like
it feels actually pretty nice today. And then the home plate umpire is like 4'2", so can't even see it.
Show us the field. Show us the field.
How I did this. Back camera.
Oh, no dirt? Or no
grass, man. Everything's all dirt up here. You get very few nice fields.
You weren't lying when you said the umpire's about 4'2".
Yeah, good old Tim, man. I love him.
So, okay, I do have to ask a serious question. We'll talk about this on the hitting and the pitching side, but what are some of the worst cues you ever got when you were pitching? From coaches, the worst
throw a
cues,
strike
or the worst.
What do you think? I hate as an umpire, as a coach, as an instructor. What do you think the poor kid's trying to do on the mound? You know what I mean?
Right. All right. Now, any pitching advice, in the sense of when they correct your mechanics, with us, it's swing down or knob to ball. What mechanics have you been taught that you're just, and your years of pitching where you're like, now that's the stupidest
Yeah,
thing
I
ever
preach
heard.
glove into chest as a PowerPoint almost, getting your glove out and then pulling it back in so you stay straight. I've seen a lot of people, even professional pitchers, I think it's, 50-50, I guess. But when people pull their glove side out towards their front hip, you open up too much and it's tough to throw a strike. A lot of those guys miss high and in. So I think my main cue I teach a lot of my kids, because it's an error I see on a lot of people just naturally, is not pulling their glove into their chest on their throw as a power axis.
Now, what was the worst cue you were ever told to do as in, to adjust your mechanics?
I had a coach tell me on a curveball to snap my elbow instead of use my fingers as a snapping motion here. They wanted me to snap here. And I was like, man, a curveball is my best pitch. Like, you're not gonna tell me some wonky stuff to hurt my elbow.
You know, I never understood coaches who they see someone is successful doing one thing and they try to completely change thinking it's going to make them better. It's like if you have a breaking ball that's 12-6 movement and it runs about 3 feet and they go, oh, hey, we're going to change your mechanics so that 3 feet can move to 4 feet. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Or, there was this one time, there was a coach I had where he was trying to instruct a kid on our team. He led our team in home runs. When we got into the all-star portion of our season, he wanted to change his swing after he had just led the league.
Yeah, I get lessons that come in like that. They're like, oh, I threw too many balls. I had 6 up, 6 down. I'm like, all right, well, what do you like? And then they go to throw a couple pitches, and they're like 5 straight fastballs down the middle of the plate. The mechanics look beautiful. And it's like, I don't want to tell you, like, I don't want to lose the client. I feel like a lot of coaches feel like that. They don't want to lose the client, telling them that there's really no progress they can make right now. They try to make too advanced jumps too fast for like 9, 10-year-olds, right? And then, then they get all screwed up, and then they're trying to do all this like advanced stuff when they were throwing strikes. You know what I mean? Like one of the biggest things I say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, is like
no.
4 walks or 8 balls in play in an inning. You know what I mean? You got like 5 run rules. I'd rather give up 8 singles or 4 walks. And it's like, of course, I want the 8 singles because you're throwing strikes, you're putting balls in play. 8 singles could be 8 outs if we make the defensive plays. You know what I mean? But like if you're walking,
no, I agree. Yeah, and also you didn't cut me off. I think there's a little bit of delay because you're in the park, and I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is there, but no, you're absolutely right. See, the way I go about the kids I train that seem very advanced for their age, I don't change anything. But instead, what I start teaching them is how to think. Because at the end of the day, if you're that good and you're that advanced skill-wise, something is holding you back. And most of the time with kids that good, it's up here. But that's because in today's day, sometimes the parents put too much pressure. This kid goes 3 for 3 of 3 bombs one game. And now the parents want him to do that
every
success day in and day out. And when he doesn't do it, it's like, you might have a pitcher that strikes out 18 in a game, and now the next week they want the kid to strike out 20 in a
unrealistic expectation.
Success is success. Yeah, like I remember there was a kid who was hitting 600 all year. Now, granted, it was Little League, but he went like 0 for 2 in one game, and the parents are like, hey, we need more work because he went 0 for 2 in his last game. Like, you guys have played 12 games in Little League all year, and he's had hits in 11 games, and he had one bad game, and now you want me to change his mechanics?
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. But it's like, what do you do in that aspect? Like, they want to pay you for a lesson, but you don't have anything to switch. You just kind of sit there for a half hour, and like you said, you took the words out of my mouth. It's all mental. It's so mental in this game. It's unbelievable.
Sometimes what I do after a kid had a rough game, even if his mechanics are solid, I just try to get him to have fun in the
exactly. They need to loosen up and just play their game again.
I call it the feel good round. I throw a few pitches right over the plate, and I'm like, okay,
a couple of feel goods.
What? I'm like, no. Yeah, swear to God, feel good with your swing. Feel good about yourself. And then, I try to make them laugh. I try to use the kids' lingo on being him and all that stuff. These kids are definitely something else nowadays.
Yeah, dude, same with a pitcher. You throw a couple balls in a workout or a tryout session or a training session, whatever. Just gas one up, right? Everyone knows you want to throw it hard and you're not focused on the strike, and that's why you're getting frustrated. Just let one loose and then come right back to it,
No. And it's funny because I'm running this 8-week training program with T-Club School of Hitting. And I'm starting to meet some players. They got some game. They're talking about recruiting and stuff. And they're asking me about showcases. And what's funny is I had a long conversation with one of my players, AJ, and we talked about showcases. But before I get in depth with mine, what is your experience with them? What do you think of them?
Can quite honestly say I've never been to a showcase. And it's gotten me to where I need to be. So they're not really important. I guess it's like the new wave of baseball. Everyone thinks like that's how they're going to get found. But yeah, personally, never really went to one. I've gone to like tryouts for the Frontier and whatnot, the draft tryouts. Those are run much different than a showcase. But But I mean, pick your poison. If you really have something to show and you're guaranteed to be better than a Division III player, go ahead. Go to the showcase, show them what you got. But if you're just an everyday guy, you're going to end up going to a local D3 school. Don't waste your time and money. It doesn't matter what you're going to post from PBR or whatever from your tryout. It's going to matter what you do when you actually play on the field. And that's how I see it.
Well, and this is what I see with showcases. It's an easier way to recruit for some of these colleges, but this is how I treat my players. Because, some showcases you pay $200 to join. Some you pay $500, some you pay $800. Either way, when you pay for these showcases, what people don't understand is you're going to be in front of D1, D2, D3, NAI, JUCO, maybe even some pro talent at these showcases. And that's all fine and dandy. But if you go in there and you don't have the tools of the level you're trying to compete at, that means you don't run freakish fast, you don't throw freakish hard, you don't hit the ball crazy hard. They're not looking for a good baseball player at these showcases. They're looking for good athletes that they can plug in their lineup. Like, hey, this guy can impact winning. We need a guy that can steal 20 bags a year. And if you go in there, hey, I'm a great outfield. I run a 7+ 60, good outfielder, good hitter, but you can't steal 20 bags. They're not going to look at you because you don't.
Yeah, the showcases look for immediate flash. They're looking for you to light up the velo gun like nobody else has with accuracy. They're looking for pop off the bat. And we talked about this in one of our episodes. Like, I'm not a showcase guy, like a tryout guy. You're not going to be impressed by me walking onto a mound with no batter and me throwing 10, 15 pitches. When you'll be impressed is when you see me in a game, in a situation as a reliever. I work myself out of it. And that's where I learned too. You know what I mean? Tryout like that is just another bullpen session for me. And, you get your name out there a little bit, but at the end of the day, you don't really show anything unless you're going to light it up immediately. Also, my pinch running spot, the guy's batting now, so I will have to let you know what goes on here.
Well, I'll tell you this, for sure, they should make showcase leagues because at the same time, it's kind of like what they did in Florida with the Black Sox. You're playing 2 months straight of just baseball games, and now you could tell, oh, hey, this guy runs really fast, but he's stupid on the bases, or hey, this guy isn't as fast, but he still can swipe 40 bags a year. It's one of those things where you want to let them play the season out, and that's what determines a very good baseball player at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you can play a whole bunch of games. Oh, yeah, got to run. All right, you talk a little bit.
At least set up the camera to where we can see you. Oh, okay.
Hopefully that's good, Tommy. I'm here for you, baby.
He's here.
Oh my God, we are about to witness Dane Clunan run the bases.
Hold on.
We're
gonna let our catcher run here. Good. Save the legs.
We're letting the catcher run?
Yeah, dude, save the legs.
Huh. I'm actually kind of disappointed that the catcher's running.
We're stolen bases.
Well, I can say this. For the people at Brandon.
Oh, he got picked off.
He got picked? Maybe they should have let you run.
What the heck? Yeah, you're not running next time. Shit. Well, you'll have that.
Dude, that's bad. I wasn't even holding the bat.
This is why the catchers don't run.
Oh, shit. All right,
well, I can say this in honor of the Brandfluence Podcast Network. I can guarantee this is something that they've probably
dude, I wish I could get like a live stream going so that way we could like talk about it after, but I'd have to get my whole iPad and everything set up.
Yeah, we got to definitely do some work when it comes because, I feel like we can reach a broader audience and on top of that, just answer questions. Not to mention, I think you and I have great charismatic personalities. Yesterday my day was made. I'm running the snack bar at the local Little League just so I could donate back. And T-Blood School of Hitting is operating the snack bar just because the Little League doesn't have volunteers, so I'm getting employees to, work it and everything. And what was actually kind of cool was I was working the snack bar because, we were short-staffed, and I was like, I got a day off anyway. So I'm working the snack bar. I give out my business card saying, hey, I'm a hitting coach. Come check us out. And this guy's like, you're T-Blood School of Hitting. I know you. I recognize you. And I was like, dude, that kind of made my day. I'm like, you make me feel famous.
Attaboy.
And then, Yeah, and I haven't really checked out any of the all-star teams in the area because I haven't gone to the games. They're like, yeah, you have like a player of each of your like lessons on each team in the tournament.
That's
I was like,
awesome, dude. I love running into my clients at tournaments when I umpire.
Yeah, no, it's the best. I mean, I gotta be. Let me guess. You give him that
I
ball.
literally just said it at my lesson today. I was like, dude, if I run into you as an umpire, I give a little bit of bias. I was like, A, I need it to look like you're doing a good job, and B, I can't ring you up when I'm giving you hitting lessons.
You're right about that. You can't give them. You can't
Those are
make
the
yourself
days
look
my
bad.
clients got to go 4 for 4 so I can talk it up to all the coaches and get more clients.
You know what's funny is when I was coaching at the high school, one of the parents complained that the only kids that were hitting or getting opportunity to play were my lessons, like the kids who were paying lessons from me.
Yeah.
And the school looked at me and they said, Coach Blood, you can't do that. You can't play just your lessons. And I said, fair, and I understand the point, but our team's hitting 330 as a team, so what the hell do you want me to do?
I ran into that with a couple of my pitchers. They all wanted private lessons. I found it best to just wait until after the season.
My thing was, these kids that were playing weren't doing it during the school year with me, but in the past they had done lessons with me, so they were like, oh, every T-Blood School of Hitter is starting on the JV team, and I also looked at it like,
these are also the kids putting in extra work and are probably better.
Well, on top of that, they were producing these kids' numbers weren't lying. Like one of my players led the team in doubles, another kid led the team in ribbies, another one led the team in average, another kid led the team in walks, and it's like, what do you want me to do? Bench the kid so I can make your son feel good about himself because he doesn't put in extra work? Like, it just kind of blows my mind how some of these schools will get on a coach for a parent that complains, even if the coaches win. I feel like if the parents complain about you and your team's losing, school get on the coach. But if it's the other way around, it's like you can't really. He's doing his job.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, parents get into high school ball and they think it's exactly like the rec leagues where they can just run all over these coaches. They feel like they have power because they can go to the boosters and complain, and then the coach always has to hear about it. I mean, I've coached high school for 3 years now. There hasn't been a day that's gone by where we haven't gotten an email or something from an unhappy parent. But you know what? You're lucky your kid's on the team. You know what I mean? Like, we could have made more cuts. So even if your kid's a bench player, like, be happy he's at least getting the practice every day, getting better, because he could have a whole spring where he's not playing baseball.
And you know what? I understand why the current coach wasn't making cuts, but at the same time, it's like if you're never making cuts, every player's entitled, everyone gets the participation trophy bullshit, and on top of that, there's no structure, there's no discipline. It's like with me when I played football, it was one of those things where it's like, oh man, I better sit up straight, do my job, because I could get kicked off this team for being a jerk in the classroom or doing something that's totally not baseball related. Our coach set the standard with us where it's like, hey, you got to perform well in the baseball field, perform well in the weight room, perform well in the classroom. If you can't perform well in all three of those aspects, even if you're a great player but a terrible student that's always in trouble, we're going to kick you off the team. And my fear was getting in trouble with a teacher because then they'd report back to my coach. Now it's like these teachers will report back to the coach and the coach doesn't do anything. Like, he's okay, I won't cut him, I won't make him run because running you can't use as a form of punishment. And it's like, there's a reason why, and I might get some backlash for this, but they used to tell us this as athletes all the time when we were in school. You student athletes are better than just a normal student. We expect higher standards. That's why if you act out in class, we don't just give you detention. We make you run until you puke because we expect more out of you. Oh, God.
Our shortstop, Division II, just made an error. Ball hit his glove and dribbled right out. Sorry, we got 2 outs, runner on first. Bottom 3? Yeah, bottom 3.
Bottom 3? Okay.
Yeah, I figured it would be a quick game. Two of the best defenses out right now.
Okay, nice.
Well, it makes me happy as a pitcher knowing that I got a solid defense, but we're already 2 errors in 3 innings.
Hey, maybe they got the pregame jitters. I can't.
They're saving all the good plays for when I take the mound.
Yeah, they don't want to get Coach Clunan all riled up now, do they? Now, you got to tell your umpire buddy who recorded you when you were pitching to not move his helmet so much.
I know, dude. I thought he was going to wear it on
Thinking
his chest, but he kept it on his helmet. And then, yeah, every bowl and play, he would take it off. So it was hard to splice the videos.
You know, I feel like if MLB played one game where you did it from the umpire's point of view, I think that would be
love
pretty
those
badass.
POVs, dude.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something. I even think the POVs where they're wearing them on their head and like you can see them like swing and everything. I think that's pretty dope.
Good play. So, man, we got, what, 5 minutes left? You got anything left for these people here? What's been going on with you? You playing ball?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I've been playing a little bit here and there, but the week's been all over the place, man. I'm running the clinics. I'm setting up camps. Like, I'm not gonna lie, viewers. I'm freaking exhausted.
Yeah, dude. I had 4 free hours a week on Wednesday afternoons, and I had, like, out of nowhere, a ton of people ask me for lessons. So now my Wednesdays are completely filled too. So I work literally every day of the week.
Yeah, we're just trying to get our sessions in. But you know, I'm hoping I build up my clientele at the new facility I've been coaching at, just because I can now rent a spot and I can just hopefully.
That's it. But listen, for guys who go on to college ball later in life, this schedule that we run is pretty much your everyday life from like 19 to 30. It's a double. Yeah, second and third. Hold them there. Huge. Good save.
Yeah, you're basically.
But yeah, your schedule stays
right,
busy. So if you can't learn how to time manage and get stuff planned out, have a calendar written up, it's tough. It's really tough. But you're gonna have classes in college ball. You're gonna have homework, exams. You gotta study. You know, and then you got bus trips and games and this and that. You're missing class. You got to stay on top of yourself. And both of us do a very good job with that, still being able to play our games and work pretty much all day, every day.
You know, the best thing I can explain, to piggyback on what you're saying is sometimes you have to sacrifice some things. Like, you know, some days you might have to sacrifice an hour or two of sleep just because, you know, you got to finish everything you're starting. But on top of that, you know, going out to the club on a Friday night on your free time, maybe that might be the, hey, let's not catch up on some sleep, because that's, I read an article saying that's not
possible. Way to get out of that.
Oh, hey, this is the day for 8 hours, sleep for 8 hours, because, you know, it's for recovery. Like, it's all about being dedicated and focused.
Yeah, you got to know yourself, know your body, and know your own schedule, man.
Yeah, no. Before we say bye to the viewers, I got to take one more look at that.
What was that?
I got to take one more look
man,
at
here we
field.
go. Let me spin it.
No fences?
And it goes under the hill in right field. Wait. It's had a ground rule.
Okay.
So it's got to go over the upper fence.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, you know, the grass looks gorgeous over there.
It's a nice little park. We've been playing here for 7 years. Can't complain. The Turk Stadium, but this is second best.
Nah, but anyway, this is a pretty interesting episode. You know, we definitely gotta answer more questions and, you know, talk to our viewers a little bit more, get them engaged. But before we sign off, what do you got to say to the people?
Man, just keep at it. Figure your schedules out and be on the baseball field as many times a week as you can. I mean, 7 days in a week, and I'm on a baseball field 14 times at least. So, you know, that's what you got to do if you really want it.
Yeah, that's how you build success. You got to build a routine.
Well, hey, one more thing. We should talk about this next time, but more players need to start umpiring. And I say that, and we'll talk deeper into it, but I think it's a really good way to learn the game. I think a lot of guys are so used to just playing, they don't get time to learn the intricate parts of the game. When is it the right time to sack, fly, bunt, stuff like that, right? See the game from a different standpoint. You see the ball coming at you a different way. I think it's a very beneficial thing. And you know what? If you love baseball, it's going to become dead soon without the help of officiating, because nobody's doing it. So that's another thing that'll help out big time.
No, I agree. You know what? Even getting into coaching, because let me tell you, when I was coaching the JV team, I would, you know, do my coaching, work the base running with the boys, and I swear to God, even though I was working base running with the boys every day, it actually improved my base running ability.
Exactly, dude. I've learned so much as an umpire. Hands down.
No, I agree. But anyway, guys, this is the Hot Corner Rant. We're signing off. Brought to you by Buena Park.
That's it, man. I'll let you know how the rest of this game wraps up.
Yes, sir. Send some videos. Post on that Coach Clunan. Follow Coach Clunan on Instagram. Follow me, T-Blood School of Hitting. And then also join the Brand Flips
That's it. Get those
Network.
pages popping. Start posting everything. We'll get up there eventually, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But anyway, this
All right.
is us
Have a good
signing
night,
off.
y'all. Bye.
You as well. Bye.
I don't understand.